All right, everybody. What I wanted to talk about today, I wanted to address an issue about concealed carry and carrying a weapon defensively in your home, having a gun in the house for home defense. Now, the specific issue around these two topics, really the same topic basically, that I wanted to talk about is, it's a big debate out there in the firearms world, is whether or not you should carry with a round chambered or with your chamber empty. So chambered or not chambered. That's the debate. It's an ongoing debate. It's like, the AR-15 and the AK-47. Which rifle is the better rifle, as they say? It's never going to end, right? 9mm 45. There's so many firearms debates out there, and I'm fully convinced that they're never going to stop. People are always going to have their sides. You can never convince someone who's, set on one thing why your side is better, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to give you my reasonings for why I've decided to go the way that I've chosen to go on this particular topic. So, round chambered, while you're carrying, let's say if you're a concealed carry permit holder and you're out and about in your everyday life and you carry a firearm. So this is my my Smith & Wesson M&P 9mm. Now I do not carry this concealed because I don't have a concealed carry permit. I will soon though. I'm applying, very soon I'll be applying for my permit. And by soon, I've heard it takes somewhere up to like maybe 3 or 4 months to actually hear back after you've submitted the application. So soon is a relative term, as they say. So anyways, if you see me looking back here, I've got some notes that I've written for myself on my handy dandy iPhone so I don't get off track from my topics. So, oh, and by the way, I do carry around chambered at all times here in the house. So as you can guess by the statement I just made, I have decided to carry chambered. My gun that I keep, this is my home defense pistol, my primary home defense weapon. This is the one I keep out within close proximity of me when I'm sleeping. It's close to the bed, and I keep around chambered, and for many reasons. So a few of those I'm going to talk about now. And when I do get my concealed carry permit, this is the weapon that I will carry concealed, and I will also carry chambered with a round in the chamber at all times. And as far as I'm concerned, guns were designed to be carried loaded. An empty gun is absolutely useless to you, the shooter. It's not going to do you any good. So, first thing I want to talk about is, let's see. Okay, so the first topic is reacting to an attack. So, in any defensive situation, if you're out and about and you're carrying your weapon concealed, and you have to draw your weapon to thwart an attack, or to defend yourself, or to defend someone else, the reason why you're drawing that weapon is because someone else has initiated a violent action. Some bad guy, some perp, whatever, has initiated a violent action either against yourself or against someone else. So that has precipitated you to react to that violent action by drawing your weapon, by drawing your concealed carry weapon. Now, let's think about that for a second. If the bad guy has started the confrontation, you are then the secondary person to act in that confrontation. You're the number two, okay? The bad guy's number one. He started, you're reacting to what he's already done, which means you're behind the 8 ball already. Before the fight is even underway, you're already behind the 8 ball because basically he took the first swing. Okay, so you're having to react to whatever it is he's doing, which means you've got less time to do what you're going to do than he has to do what he's going to do, because he's already started doing what he's doing. He's approaching you, he's already hitting someone else. Maybe he's got a gun as well. His is already out, he's already coming towards you, and now you're having to react and hurry up and draw your weapon. So this notion that, well, you should carry unchambered because you'll have plenty of time to get your gun out of the holster and then rack your slide and then acquire your target and then put, really, I don't know what fantasy world people live in where they think that gunfights go that slowly, for one, where the bad guy is just going to stand around moving in slow motion waiting for you to get your pistol out and shoot him and be the hero. It just doesn't happen that way. Law enforcement professionals are trained that an assailant or a perp who is within 25 feet of you and holding a knife, not a gun, okay, people? Not a gun, a knife, within 25 feet is still a threat. Even though you are an armed law enforcement professional, that person within 25 feet is still a threat. Because if they charge you with a knife, the amount of time it takes for them to cover that distance, that 25 feet, and get that knife into you is usually shorter than the amount of time it takes for you to see them coming, react to it, draw your handgun, and be able to fire on them before they get to you. You might get a couple rounds in them, but by the time you do, that knife's most likely buried in your chest. Okay, that's 25 feet, and that's for trained law enforcement professionals. So you, as an everyday civilian walking around with a pistol and a concealed carry, if you honestly think that somebody coming at you and you're going to have plenty of enough time to get your pistol out and then rack the slide. We're talking cops don't even carry, cops carry their guns loaded. Okay, they carry the way they're supposed to with a round in the chamber. So we're not talking about a cop having to draw and rack. He's just drawing and shooting. So you think you're going to draw, rack, and then shoot, and you're going to be able to put him down before he gets to you. I'm sorry. You're living in a fantasy world. It's not going to happen. You're going to get yourself killed. That's what's going to happen. Now, let's see. So, let's move on to it's a similar related topic to that. So let's talk about reaction time. I'm sorry, concentration. Let's focus on concentration. So, there's an enemy attacking you. Let's say you get knocked to the ground, and or he's already on you. He's got you wrapped up. He's grabbed you. He's got his hands on you. He's punching you. He's kicking you. He's stabbing you. Again, you have to draw. If you're trying to draw your pistol with somebody grabbing you, putting their hands on you, stabbing you with a knife, and you're trying to draw your pistol, you're already at a disadvantage because you're already getting your ass kicked. So here it is, you're trying to pull your pistol. Not only are you trying to pull your pistol, now you're having to use both hands to manipulate that weapon at the same time. Where you should be using one of those hands to defend those blows or get some distance on the enemy. Okay, the pistol's designed to be used one-handed. That's why they're small. All right, you should be able to draw it one-handed and immediately put accurate fire on that perpetrator. But you can't do that now because your gun's unloaded, genius. So now you've got to come over with your support hand and rack your slide. Meanwhile, you're getting punched or stabbed. Okay, let's say he's got your support hand wrapped up. Now what are you going to do? You can't rack your slide at all. You can't get your hand to it because he's got you by the arm. Okay, and all the stuff in the movies, you're not going to be racking it off your shoe and using your belt and blah, 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 blah. You can train for that kind of stuff, but again, when somebody's beating you in the head, okay, it's very hard to concentrate on what you're trying to do. It's very hard to manipulate a firearm with somebody punching you in the face or hitting you in the side of the head or slamming your head into the ground. Now, this brings up the only example of this that's happened recently that I can think of is the, what was that guy's name? George Zimmerman. The George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin altercation between those two guys. Now, I'm not talking about this because I want to discuss the merits of Zimmerman and this and that and racism and blah, 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 blah. I really couldn't care less about any of that. I have my opinion on Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman, and I can talk about that in a separate video if you'd like. If somebody posts in the comments and they want to hear what I have to say about that, by all means, I'd be more than happy to. You might be surprised by my thought process on that. But anyways, let's just look at the merits of the case. So, according to the only eyewitness, which is George Zimmerman, because Trayvon Martin is now dead and was not there to give his side of the story. And that crazy fat chick that they had on the stand, she completely blew their case right out of the water. She shot the prosecution straight to hell. So, according to George Zimmerman, now I'm assuming that what he said was true. Trayvon Martin, now he approached Trayvon Martin, okay, which I don't think he should have done. Should have left the kid alone. But that's neither here nor there. He approached him, Trayvon Martin turned on him and attacked him physically. Came at him, knocked him to the ground, started beating his head into the concrete and punching him in the face. Now, during that assault, George Zimmerman was able to get his pistol unholstered and put rounds into Trayvon Martin. How do you think that altercation would have ended if he was not carrying with a round chambered already? If he would have had to, while being hit in the face and while having his head smacked into the concrete, had to find a way to get his other hand in there and manipulate his slide at the same time. Okay? I think the casualty would have been flipped around. I think George Zimmerman would have been the one beaten to death or killed with his own gun by Trayvon Martin. Okay, I think that, in my opinion, that's what would have happened if he had been carrying with a round already chambered in his weapon, like he should have been, like everybody who carries a concealed weapon should be doing. Okay, that is the only intelligent way to carry a gun, is loaded. Otherwise, it's no use to you. So, good luck kind of trying to concentrate on using both hands to manipulate a weapon while somebody is smacking you in the back of the head with a baseball bat. Have fun with that. Moving on along. Now, here is the biggest reason why people are against carrying with round chambers. Let's talk about that. Why do people not want to carry chambered in the first place? What's the big deal about it? They think it's unsafe. They think it's safer to them, the shooter, and to the general public to carry with their weapon empty, right? Magazine in, but no round in the chamber. And as far as I'm concerned, I've said this before in another video, If you don't have a round in the chamber, your gun is unloaded. It might as well be empty. I don't care if you've got a 1,000-round magazine in the thing. If you don't have a round in the chamber, your gun's unloaded, okay? Now, people think that that's the safer way to do it. Why is that? Because people have this weird thing in their mind about guns just going off. They just go off, right? They just, you look at it too hard or you stare at it the wrong way and the thing's just going to go off. Or if you've got it holstered and you sit down the wrong way and something's going to happen and bang, the gun's just going to go off. Sorry, people. Again, you've been duped and you've been jaded, and your perception of firearms has been completely warped, mainly by Hollywood and by the media and by the Obama administration, unfortunately. I didn't vote for him. It's not my fault, not my president. Moving right along. So, again, that's a fallacy. It's completely untrue. Guns don't just go off on their own, okay? What makes a modern firearm discharge a round is you, the shooter, pressing the trigger. Okay, this gun is loaded. As you can tell, I've been standing here for a few minutes now with this thing in my hand the whole time. I've been waving it around. I've been talking with it. I can point it at the camera. It hasn't fired a round yet. Why is that? Because I haven't pressed the trigger. Okay, I keep my finger out of the trigger well at all times unless I am ready to shoot. It's one of the cardinal rules of firearm safety. Keep your finger off the trigger until your sights are aligned on your intended target. Okay? That's just rule number, I believe it's rule number 2, actually, of the 4 cardinal rules of firearm safety. All right, but it's something that you should practice at all times when handling firearms. Keep your finger off the trigger. So first and foremost, don't press the trigger. That's why guns go off. That's why people shoot themselves on accident. When they're either reholstering or drawing from a holster, the reason why they accidentally shoot themselves is because as soon as it clears the holster, their finger automatically goes straight into the trigger well and they press that trigger while the gun is pointed down at them. Now, we talked about police officers earlier. Unfortunately, they're the ones who have the highest rate of doing this, of shooting themselves. Now, it stands to reason that the reason why they have the higher rate of doing this is because they draw their weapons far more frequently than the average citizen does. So that makes sense. So the numbers are a little skewed for that statistic because they're cops, so obviously they're going to be drawing their weapons a lot more frequently than their average everyday civilian. Also, most police, most police organizations use Glocks. There are these Glocks, or like I'm carrying, Smith & Wesson M&P. They don't have a manual safety. The only safety other than the internal safeties is built into the trigger itself. So if you clear the holster and your finger presses that trigger, sorry, there's a round going off, and wherever that weapon's pointed, that's where that bullet's going. It's usually that cops end up shooting themselves in the feet, the knees, the thighs. So again, don't press the trigger. Okay. The gun is not any safer by you carrying it unloaded, all right? It's an expensive paperweight at that point if you're carrying it unloaded. It's not the smart way to do it. Train yourself to keep your finger off the trigger. If you're going to be a gun owner, you need to be a responsible gun owner, which means you need to train. You need to practice and you need to train, okay? The purpose of training is to teach you what and how to practice. And you need to practice those fundamentals that you learn in training. You need to practice them over and over and over again. Repetition, okay? You need to practice until it's ingrained, until it becomes muscle memory. Keep your finger off the trigger unless your sights are aligned up on whatever it is you intend to shoot. All right? So that's why people think that, oh, well, it's safer to carry unchambered. Well, it's really not. The reason why they think that is because they think, one, the gun's going to go off on its own. That's a myth. Guns don't do that, okay? Sorry, find me a documented case somewhere where guns just magically just start shooting, okay? The left would have you think that. That's why they're constantly trying to vilify guns, because they want you to think that guns are just this evil thing and they just float around killing people. Not the case at all, okay? Every gun that goes off, it goes off because of the actions of a human hand holding the damn thing. That's the way they work. So, carrying unchambered, not safe, not making yourself any safer or the general public any safer by carrying unchambered. On the contrary, you're actually putting yourself at risk because, again, like we talked about earlier, it's much more difficult to get that firearm out of the holster and then have to come over and rack the slide. And not to mention that you're wasting time, okay? Most gunfights last about 3 to 5 seconds. So if you're spending an extra second and a half having to rack your slide, you're now wasting the few seconds you have left in the gunfight, okay? And it's not the first shot fired that wins the gunfight, it's the first hit that wins the gunfight. Okay, so don't let that guy open fire first. You need to get accurate rounds on your target as quickly as possible, which means you need bullets in your gun. There needs to be one in the pipe at all times. So moving right along. One of the biggest, and I mentioned training a second ago, so I want to focus on that a little bit more. All of this stuff comes down to your training, to your level of training. Okay, if you are, like I said, if you're going to carry one of these, all right, you need to be responsible. You need to do it responsibly, and you need to take it seriously. It's not a video game. Life is not a video game, okay? You don't get to hit reset. There are no checkpoints. There's no respawns, none of that, all right? Call of Duty playing 40 hours of Call of Duty a week does not make you a better marksman. It does not make you a better shooter, Okay, it doesn't teach you a damn thing about firearms, marksmanship, or safety. All right, you need to learn these things. Hell, if all you do is watch YouTube videos, you can learn a lot from watching YouTube videos. You can learn a lot from watching the right people on YouTube. I learn a lot from watching people on YouTube. People like what's his name? James Yeager from Tactical Response. James, if you ever see this video, shouts out to you because you're awesome, and I've learned a lot just from watching your YouTube videos. And I do plan on coming to take a class with you one of these days when I can afford it, because I've got 3 children, so, and you know how that goes. But you know, if that's all you can do is watch YouTube videos, that's fine. At least you're doing something. You're learning something. But whatever it is that you're learning, you need to practice it. You need to do practical practice. You need to get up off your ass, pick up your handgun, and actually train yourself with it. Now, I'm not wearing a holster right now, but if I were, I could demonstrate for you. And even I could just demonstrate anyways, just kind of pretend that I'm wearing a holster, right? So you're practicing a proper draw stroke. Whereas basically, you know, you pull your shirt up, your weapon comes out of the holster, right? And you're going to rotate, hands come together, press the gun out right in front of your eyes. Okay? That's something that you can practice in reholstering. You can practice that over and over and over again until you're blue in the face. Practice that till it becomes muscle memory, until you can do it in your sleep. Okay? That's what's going to make you a better shooter. That's what's going to make you a more responsible gun owner, is practice. So train, and train the way you're going to fight. That's what's most important. Train the way you're going to fight. And here's the thing, however you train, that is how you will fight. So if you half-ass your training, guess what you're going to do in an actual gunfight, okay? You're going to lose. That's what. You're going to end up getting yourself killed, because you're going to ingrain improper and horrible and poor muscle memory is what you're going to end up doing to yourself by training improperly. You train wrong, you're going to fight wrong, okay? If you train at half speed, you're going to fight at half speed. That's just the way it is. You're not going to all of a sudden jump up to some other higher level of training that you've never even tried, that you haven't mastered yet. That's just not the way life works, okay? The saying is, we don't rise to the occasion. We fall to our level of mastered training. That's just the way it is. That's the real world. Like I said, life ain't a movie, okay? Hollywood has screwed people's brains up. You got to get past that. So if you're going to carry one of these every day for personal protection, for defense of your family, and you're going to have one in your home, especially in your home, you need to have a round chambered. Carry the damn thing loaded. It's a gun. It's designed to be chambered. Okay? It needs to have a round in the chamber. It's perfectly safe. Just keep your finger off the trigger until your sights are pointed at something that you intend to shoot. All right? That's pretty much it for my notes. And you know, if you guys have any comments you want to post about it, please do put them up in the comments. I appreciate you watching, and we'll be back next time, and we'll have some other topics to talk about. So, you know, if you don't agree with me, please tell me why. I'd like to see your opinion on the topic, and we can talk about it. So, with that, I'll leave you with these words: God bless you, the American patriot. God bless these United States, and long live the Republic.